Imagine belonging to the world's greatest Patreon.
The Bombadcast presents the one and only club, a Patreon experience.
Ran by the most Bombad hosts of all time.
Let's be honest here. You'd be the biggest poodoo ever.
That is Star Wars talk for a piece of shit.
If you didn't join this Patreon, I mean, you'd be an absolute dumb.
The one and only club, Patreon experience, is not sold in stores.
It's just 12 easy payments of $6.99 a month for the rest of your life.
But wait, use your card right now to sign up for it. Scotty and Jerry, that's me, will give you a shout out live on the air.
There will be 10 unique perks. 10 unique perks for you if you join this Patreon. And it's hosted by two of the greatest people that ever existed.
Scotty J-Ro?
And me, Jerry Cable.
Can't beat that. Broadcast to dozens of people.
How many of you have been dared to jump a ditch with no shoes on?
Why would you ask that?
Well, if you did it and you're still here, please join the Bombadcast Patreon.
Come on. What's he gonna spend it on? Food?
Being a part of the Bombadcast Patreon is not a bad idea at all. Simply because, well, you don't really have that many good ideas. You're kind of an idiot. You're watching this.
That's absolutely right. Live on air, satisfaction guaranteed.
I hope you enjoy it.
It's so dense. Every single image has so many things going on.
Remember, when joining this Patreon, make sure you
Stay Bombad.
stay Bombad.
Stay Bombad.
So what do you think?
They do nice work, I'll give them that, but Grogu is too young to operate heavy machinery. Maybe when he's older.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him if he'll change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah. I'm asking him to change his ways. Come on, change. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Cause you frickin' fricks just can't ever be quenched. Your fantasies can't ever be quenched, can they? You frickin' fricks! When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences? You guys keep on asking for Sonic Adventure 3, and you're ruining the Sonic series. Hasn't it already suffered enough?
Avant que ce soit l'émeute et que tu me piques la vedette. Bon allez, salut à tous et à bientôt pour un nouveau Fréquence Kang. Ouf, un peu plus, c'était lui la star. Je l'ai échappé méga belle.
On a eu l'échappée belle. Frôler l'amour de peu. On a eu l'échappée belle.
to the Bombadcast. Welcome to the Bombadcast. Wow, 4 years of that. Jesus Christ. It's to keep going. That's right. It's not stopping here, dumbasses. Every Thursday, you can feel our wrath. And we can talk things Star Wars adjacent right now. You know what we're talking about. You know what month it is. Yes, we're talking about Indiana Jones. We're talking about Indiana Jones. And we're going to have some friends joining us as well. Very excited for this. We're talking about, in particular, the Temple of Doom. And you can catch us every Thursday. Bombad Gaming, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been seeing concerts pretty much every Wednesday. I feel like Bombad Gaming just needs to change. I'm just kidding. No, but in all seriousness, Bombad Gaming will make a return at some point. I know it's been a little bit of a hiatus. Breath of the Wild has got me so preoccupied. Anyway, super excited to have everyone here tonight. Remember, Jerry is sexy, okay? I can be sexy, but Jerry is sexy. Before we go any further, high five, Paul. Make sure we do it. Everyone in the back. Let's see. I didn't see Scotty do it yet. Wait on Scotty. High five, Paul. Yes. Okay, Scotty gets it. Okay, good. That being so, it's Praise to Organa. And as always, just realize this. It's not scripted. It's Bombad. Hello, everyone. I don't know if you saw, but they announced some new Bombad. I'm sorry, not Bombad. Whoa, sorry. They announced some new Apple products. Tim Cook has been watching the Bombadcast and his Visions Pro for years, and no one knows that. Tim Cook told us personally that it's the first thing he did. He got his Visions Pros, and he said, I'm watching the fucking Bombadcast. And I don't blame him. Anyway, I got to bring in my co-host. My co-host has been doing something pretty fun recently. He's been reading the names of our patrons, and I'm not joking. 2 of our patrons are our guests tonight. I can't even believe this. Jerry, what's going on, King?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Yeah, listen. What people don't know is Tim Cook has had the Apple, like, what is it like, Apple Vision Pro?
Yes,
he's
Pro
had that
Vision.
since 1999 at least, like at base minimum.
Yep,
I'm telling
look.
you right now.
Right there.
Flying, yeah, right there. That's how he flies his drones. Actually, is with his Visions Plus. Yeah, so he gets to work just like a murder of drones carries him.
I love that we've messed up the name each time. Visions Plus, Pro Visions.
The Provisions.
As long as it's
Provisions.
cool,
The
it's
powder. The Pro powder.
Anyway, let's hear our patrons, Jerry.
Listen, let's get them. Let's get them in here because again, we've got patrons in the back who are. Listen, if you join our Patreon, there's a good chance you could possibly end up on the fucking show. So I mean, that's reason enough to join. Like Scotty and I are still. Listen, we're about to formulate some shit for you guys, but Patreon, our Patreon, we have the lovely and the wonderful Trevor, Richie Rasputin, Preston Dugas, Buck, Brian, Alden Diaz, David, K2S Bro,
Diaz,
Trey Mitkel, I can't pronounce that last name. Wesley Woldridge, Chase Hauser, Neil Lowry, Todd DeGrossier, Brian Finesse. That's a Brian Finesse right there. M from Pink Milk, Michael McCoy, Brian Fry, Jeff Quadio, Jared the Gray Jedi, Seth Parnell, Sean motherfucking Room, Rick, Dickwad Villanueva, Joe, Holy Pex Organa, Brandon Schrader, Andy H, Will Beatty, Scotty Holiday. This could be you. This could be you. Guys, this could be you.
Y'all, the anticipation.
Don't you want to hear me murder your name like that? Like, come on.
The anticipation has led up to this.
Anticipation.
No, in all seriousness, we need to bring in our guests. Our first guest has been on the Bombadcast before. They are wonderful. They make fantastic content on their YouTube channel. The one and the only Scotty Holiday.
Wanna have you near me? I wanna have you hear me say it.
Want to have you near me? I want to have
Scotty!
you near me.
I'm Indiana Jones whipping.
Oh, hell yeah. There you go.
Scotty,
Hi.
showed us the song.
What's up, friend?
Scotty chose the song before this stream even started. I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to
listen to it yet.
We're already, by the way,
We are in copyright jail.
We are actually in copyright jail right now. We got a message from YouTube that says, "If you do not stop playing clips, you will be demonetized." And I'm like,
I thought we were demonetized already. Anyway,
not yet. But if you haven't checked this out, everyone, I'm gonna play 5 seconds of this. Scotty sent us.
Oh my god. We're in copyright jail. Hey, I'm gonna play 5 seconds of this. Okay, hold on.
5 seconds. Here we go. There you go.
That's
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's for Pride Month. Happy Pride Month and Indiana
Happy
Jones.
Pride Month. Yes.
Fuck yes.
That's
why.
Damn
it! I just got an email. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm just playing.
Scotty, glad to have you back. Especially for a franchise
pleasure
not
to have you.
super familiar with, which also leads to really good conversation. Because I'm excited to see your thoughts on this, because this is something that you're not familiar with talking about, and that's honestly the best way to engage in content sometimes is when you go in blind. So that's awesome.
For sure. I'm not Scotty Holiday Star Wars tonight. I'm Scotty Holiday Indiana Jones.
Yes. Wow. Two skies do make it right. Let's bring in our next guest. We're gonna pop their Bombad cherry. They've been in the chat, I think, for like 2 years now.
Listen, the Bombad cherry is completely gone from this next guest. I mean, it's complete. Like that cherry's been ripped out years ago. Yeah.
Let's see it.
Wait, who invited you here?
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah,
I would say my cherry is now officially popped, right?
It is, yeah. Officially.
It is. Everyone, Buck O'Brien. Round of applause. Buck O'Brien.
Buck,
legend.
welcome to the show.
Buck,
well, you guys did guarantee my satisfaction live and on screen. So
that's right.
Always.
There's only one way to be satisfied. Buck Wild, baby.
And
Buck,
it's anally.
You heard it here first. You heard it here.
Not,
okay.
if I'm going to be honest here.
Honestly, I've heard it other places, but yes, yeah.
I'm going to switch my hat back up.
Okay, that's fine. We got to pop your cherry though, Buck, and like officially. I know we did a Scotty on his on their first stream.
Is this what we're calling it now?
Oh yeah, you ready? Paul's
is
here.
popping folks cherries and stuff.
We're gonna pop Buck's bussy.
This is your wake-up call. Time to reach, go for it all. Vulture stirs inside of me, and I know what I can be. Limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is vultures in your cup.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It's official now. Yeah, it's official. Yeah. You're now a part of this religion. There you go. You're welcome.
I was needing a new religion.
Speaking of religion,
aren't we all?
A Satanist died. I'm sorry. Not a
Yes.
Satanist.
No, yeah. Oh, a little hellion.
A little hellion died today.
He's in hell now.
Hell got back one of its little angels today.
No, this is awesome, Buck. Very happy to have you here. Before we started, Buck revealed something, and this again is a Buck Wild take. Let's bring it home. Buck, is this your favorite Indiana Jones?
It is my favorite Indiana Jones.
Buck Wild. We need to get a button.
I love this movie so much, and I found out it's my husband's too. This is his favorite movie.
Wow, interesting. Well, so. Now look, I'll be real with y'all. I hadn't rewatched this movie since I was maybe 10 or 11, and rewatching it today, I was like,
"Hold up,
wait a minute."
You seriously haven't rewatched it since you were 10 or 11?
I'm not kidding.
A century ago.
That was like last week. Yeah. No, for Eli that was last week. No, but for me it was like 15 years ago. Like legit. Or no, I'm 27. Jesus Christ. 17 years ago. So it's
that much older than you. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you are. No. but
I'm a full 10 years older than Scotty.
Rewatching it's so weird because we've got so on this stream, you've got Jerry and I who I think Jerry's seen it more times than I have. I've only seen it a handful of times. Buck's favorite, Scotty's first and only Indiana Jones. So, like, this is a very interesting concoction of, I guess, ideas that's going to formulate here.
There's going to be some interesting opinions tonight, too. I'm just saying.
I am excited to talk about
Great.
This. So, we have to address the elephant in the room, quite literally. I know they ride on elephants.
But I
Literally,
there are elephants.
There's like 3, and they keep riding on them and doing shit to them.
Yes,
the whole time, like they're fucking Barnum and Bailey's.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable.
There was a couple of things I'm like, that's a little like they're like pulling his ear to get down. I'm like,
but she like dumps and I know she probably didn't actually dump perfume on it and everything, but I'm just like, this is like PETA's worst fucking nightmare. Like,
it really is.
I really wanted to kick her off the elevator when she did that.
God.
Willie is a tough character to sell in 2023. I will say.
Yeah, somehow Spielberg married her.
Exactly.
Like what?
It's
What is
gonna
wrong
be
with that,
heated.
man?
It's gonna be heated because she's my girl.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Hey, look. Okay, hold on. I like Willie.
All respect, Scotty. I apologize.
I like Willie too, but not quite as much as I like Marion. Marion to me is a infinitely better character.
Marion is the one he ends up with ultimately, right? But,
yes.
But Willie,
Okay.
Willie's got her charm. She does have her charm.
I love that the elephant in the room is Willie, but that's not the case. The elephant in the room is the cultural distaste that this whole movie is like just fumigated in.
It is
like
it's just absolutely chock full.
Racist as hell.
It is. So I'm watching it with my wife, and we're sitting there, and I was like, okay. Jerry was texting me like 2 days ago. He's like, he's like, oh fuck. There's like this movie's kind of a lot, and I'm like, okay. I didn't remember it from being a kid watching it, and the first thing I texted Jerry, and
which was the first time by the way, before you reveal, I text you immediately after that happened with my first text.
Okay.
Yeah. So
There's
we
a
had the
scene.
same idea.
The opening scene shows them at club.
Iconic.
Yeah, iconic Club Obi-Wan. It's a great dance scene. I was really enjoying it. Like Spielberg went all out. If this came out in 2023, all the fans like they went woke and just like slapping them. They went woke. They're doing a goddamn dance number. Am I fucking Indiana Jones? That's not happening. You know, it would have.
By the way,
like
they
a whole
also
thing.
they had like a shit ton of dancers in that World Between Worlds Dragon Head. Also, by the way. Did you realize that? I didn't realize until just now that it's like they are on this huge fucking sound stage, and then they go through the dragon set. I'm like, that's meta as hell.
It was just for us. Like that was just for the audience.
That was like the audience. That was you being in love with that. I love that. But like I didn't honestly, for real, did not notice till this watch.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a second, that's like a dream sequence or something, kind of a
like
thing. That's for the audience.
Yeah. God, that's great.
So it's good. I love it. I fucking like. I'm a big musical king. Anyway, Scotty, Scott Jarrow.
Yes, me.
Please continue.
I know it gets complex. No, I was watching this movie with a different lens, and the opening's great. I'm enjoying the opening. You know, there's some stereotyping in the opening that I'm like, oh, this is interesting. They're singing it. They're singing in different languages, and like, okay, they're kind of giving you a hint already. This movie's going to be more about culture than it is about treasure hunting, because it really is way more about culture. Everything from Eastern cultures to how an American can be viewed in very weird ways culturally as well. Like there's a balance there, and like I'm watching this opening, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. With these, are they what are these Japanese characters? Are they just mobsters? Or like what is their deal? I really don't know.
That's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
It's
they're like the Yakuza.
It's very much that 1930s idea of like mobsters running clubs. And, right? Like,
that's what I was getting.
You see that a lot.
And I love the dialogue between them. And Buck and I had talked, off air when we started. This movie's pacing is like god tier. Like from the opening dance sequence.
It is China. Yeah, it is China.
Okay, it's China. I thought it was in Japan. Okay, so it's in China. Okay, it is in Shanghai. You're right. Okay, so when they were in Shanghai, and the whole, I guess the whole build up of that scene, with the turning of the lazy Susan back and forth, like it's so great. The second things get chaotic. And like, things going wild.
I can't believe this is in there.
I wonder if I can find a clip of it. This is the
fact that they didn't cut this is hilarious. This didn't get cut.
It feels anyway. Please listen. We can't talk about it until we have to reveal this kind of thing here.
I looked it up. Indiana Jones punching a woman.
Out of nowhere, the cigarette girl is right behind him, and the way that it's cut, it looks like he just turns around, notices her, and whacks her and then keeps going.
Out of her.
I know he's dying of poison, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but he's
like
dying
that.
swinging.
I think it's the face. It's supposed to be, I think, in the chaos he accidentally punches the cigarette girl, which is like
it's not edited that way though.
No, it looks
there's too
like
much time for him to like really
he
figure it out.
He sits there, looks at her, and goes, "I'm gonna deck you."
and he does. You can't see it. It's supposed to be a gift,
and he doesn't look like he's like. There's no look of remorse or anything. I mean, we're not looking at his face, so it just is like he turns around. Fast. Cigarette girl's there. He goes, "Bam!" I had forgotten that was in there.
It is like, a crazy moment.
Oh
I mean, he could have easily been like, "Oh, sorry, sweetie," and then kept it moving. But nope, he just kept it moving.
But Indiana is not a good guy.
That's what we established this last week.
He's not a good guy.
He is a dirtbag with a slight heart of gold. Like he has a bit. He has a sliver of a conscience. Is this guy?
Mm-hmm. I'll have it pulled up right here so y'all can actually see the shot next. If you missed it, he punches the shit out of her, and she's like, "Oh."
That is a classic 1980s Spielberg punch, by the way.
Yeah,
blocking.
The way he's not hitting her face at all is what really makes this gif like perfect.
Oh. I can't.
Her mouth is already open before he even.
It's like it's like those commercials with the old people, like with the popcorn in the chair, and they're like, "Ah!"
It is a wild scene,
and I can't get up.
Oh man, look, and then you know what? This is true too, because this is the case that he was going through divorce as this movie was being, filmed. And then George, if I'm not mistaken, I think George, this is post Return of the Jedi, so George had already gone through a divorce. It's just, man, it's there are moments, and that's one of them. Look, that one's almost played as jokes. But then the other things in this movie,
I've gone through a divorce.
So
I'm not gonna put a lady punch in there for fun. I'm just saying.
Lady punch.
And I love them. It was a different time. You can make up all the excuses you want to. It's just odd. It's just odd.
It is a very odd choice.
I get what they were trying to do.
It's not written just by George though, right? Like Gloria and what's his name, like they have some hand in the writing of this as well. Yeah. And I'm like, there's still a woman on the writing team, and we still get things like this. And what comes later in the movie, you're like, are you kidding me? And they were chosen because they knew a lot about India.
Oh yes, I heard that in one of my little review videos I watched before, like preparing for this.
It's unfortunate. That's the next thing I was going to bring up.
Scotty, they actually do their homework. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
I watched like 4 videos. I'm not even kidding. I was like, all right, let me look up all the facts so I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Appreciate that. We appreciate
coming on Bombadcast strong. No, I was watching this and I was like,
really, we do our research.
Okay, maybe that was distasteful. I didn't like watching that woman get punched. Whatever. I love the whole entire and.
That was a great text. That was a great text. I'm sorry that you sent me though.
What did I say?
I got it after I dropped off my kiddo at my
exact.
I dropped off my kiddo at her mom's house, and I had Siri read it to me in the car.
It said, "Why the fuck did Indiana Jones punch that?"
So this is listen, Siri, or like I had Siri play the message, and she said, "Why the fuck did Indiana Jones punch that woman?"
That's a really good Siri.
You're welcome. I have that like Apple Play in my car, so I hear Siri a lot. So but yeah.
So
what do you drive? Now I want to know what he drives.
Sorry, I drive a none of your business. No, I'm just playing. It's a Chevy Eclipse. So.
Okay, cool.
Do you have to put a block of wood on your foot to drive the car like Short Round does? Because I know
but I do sit on an apple box. Actually,
God, I
have like one of those little car seats. It's just the bottom seat. Right,
I would say
with the handles on the side,
the booster,
little
booster.
In case my little elbows get tired.
I don't know if y'all feel the same exact way. I certainly felt like Short Round maybe has aged the best as a character.
Yes.
Short Round, I want in more of these movies. I wish that Short Round had made it into more. I'm like, where the
I did not love him the first time.
It's
a
okay.
long
No,
time ago, the first time I
Welcome,
watched it, I thought he was very annoying.
Yeah.
But this time I was like, oh, he's not very annoying like I thought he was before. So like I enjoyed him a lot better now as an older person, like watching the movie.
I have so many questions though, because chronologically this happens first. So where the fuck is he in the next 3 movies?
That's exactly my point too.
He went to America with the elephant.
Yeah.
What was that line about?
He's making sure that no one beats the shit out of it at the circus or something.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Good luck with
You're gonna
that.
make me cry. Elephants will make me cry every time, man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They're so cruel to elephants.
Hell yeah, they're horrible. To
Bro, as soon as they started getting on him here, I'm like, bro, come on.
Oh, Willie trying to.
This is so clearly the 1930s.
Yes.
I was like, no, that poor elephant.
Yeah, Short Round being in this movie was great, and I was afraid that wouldn't have aged well, but it aged really well. He almost plays like the C-3PO R2-D2 archetype of like comic relief, but also really helpful. You know, and it's nice that it's not played like, oh, culturally, like, you know, this little, you know, Chinese boy speaks a different language and like it's hard to understand him. That's like, because they could have easily gone down like, what are you saying, kid, route, but they didn't, and that's very tasteful. It was very much.
And watching this movie, they came
Yes.
dangerously close to probably going that route.
Yes.
It feels
Yes.
but all seriousness, it's the relationship with Indy that not that like He Who Kwan obviously is fucking phenomenal. He did fucking fantastic in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm so glad he's finally getting his due. But the relationship between Short Round and Indy is what really makes it pop off screen. I feel like, because I feel like it's that thing where you get that dirtbag guy, but he's got this little kid with him, and it's like, oh, he's got well, it's like something more to this guy.
It's
here.
like Din and Grogu,
right?
It's
right.
very,
exactly. Is
I
Din
thought
and
the
Grogu.
same thing when you were as you were saying it.
It's like
the idea of making sure that you write your hero who likes the dog, right? That's why we're like John Wick.
Yeah,
right?
That's good.
He's
they're good to kids,
regardless of
good guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Regardless of what his scruples are, he's not a total asshole who hates like kids and that kind of a thing. So
that was the thing I was worried about.
There's a slight redemption. in there.
I even thought at one point that Willie would have made like another stereotypical joke, like about you know whatever. Like I was just bracing for it because
if somebody was going to do it, it would have been her.
Oh, 100%. Oh, she. So obviously, this is a big argument that we as Indiana Jones or fans of movies in general have. Everyone always bitched about the Crystal Skull, like lead-lined, moment. I know you haven't seen it, Scotty, but in Crystal Skull, there's a scene where the atomic bomb goes off.
They give him the full Oppenheimer. Actually,
and they put Indiana Jones. He puts himself in a fridge that's lead-lined, and he's saved from the atomic blast. And I'm watching this scene
thrown from it.
Yeah, thrown from it. I'm watching this
inside
scene,
of this thing. Yeah,
it's over the top. But I watch this scene, and I'm like, how is the scene with the raft any different?
Okay,
it's not any different.
As you described it, I was like, but they did the raft in this movie, and that kind of seems like the same. Like,
yes, and then people still bitch.
I love how that raft it inflates and gently floats 50 feet down.
Yeah,
like
not possible.
It's the idea though that like they didn't grow up with this, so they couldn't accept it, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
If you grew up with it, you wouldn't have minded. But because you're an adult now and you're actually thinking,
exactly,
it doesn't make sense. But I'm like, just accept it. Like, go back to that childlike brain and wonder and accept it the same way.
I agree,
and I did.
It was convincing.
Hell yes,
I was like, I love this.
They've done it in Bond films before. I mean, every movie has a weird little moment where like that's not actually possible, but you suspend your disbelief because you want to enjoy the movie.
Exactly.
And like I watched this one and I'm like, why did everyone bitch about the damn French? Like, what?
You have people literally ripping hearts out of chests or
Yes.
being like 5 feet
Powering
above a puddle or a pool of lava and not burning alive. Like,
when the other guy
Willie should have died.
Yes,
Willie should have died,
Willie
right? But she lived magically, where the other guy caught on fire, right? Like we just completely suspend disbelief for the purpose of the story.
Right.
And it's crazy when we nitpick things.
Yeah, it's funny because in this movie in particular, like you know, there's things you can nitpick, and people choose not to nitpick that. I don't know. It blows my mind.
It's just that listen, and you can, and I see you all in the chat too. It's fun. Like, you cannot like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. You're allowed to not like a piece of art. What is kind of the dickish thing to do is to go around being like, and if you want to make those jokes to yourself, fine, whatever, I guess. But like the whole like, oh, there's 4 Indiana Jones movies, and then there was only 3. Like that kind of shit. It's just like, just go home, man. Like,
so
like,
yeah.
It's been so many years since Crystal Skull came out.
I'm analyzing this movie at this point. I'm like, okay, so far I think this movie is great. The shots are amazing. The way it's set up, to me, this is the best shot Indiana Jones movie, because like just every frame has got so much to take in and enjoy. And then we get to the part where there's, you know, an entire culture of people that, you know, are obviously, I guess you could say they're in distress, right? They're, you know, and misrepresentation is a big one there. But
in need of a white savior is what they were.
That's where I was like, okay, he walks up and he's like already kind of like chest showing, you know, and he's like very much a white guy, and they're all like, oh, and I'm like, ooh.
It was really bad.
How this would have really happened would be they would have stayed where they're at, freaked out by this, you know, different culture person walking up. Like, they would have been like, whoa, this is weird. You know, we don't see this kind of guy here often. But the second he walks up, they're all like, oh,
literally.
I was like, ooh, okay, this is bad, number one. And then, of course, like, I get it. They're trying to show that this group of people are obviously in trouble. Something's gone wrong. And I actually kind of like how, you know, Indy was like, no, this is how their culture operates. Like telling her to shut up because she's being a dumbass the entire time. And that's the one thing I was very fond of. I'm like, okay, cool. There's like a little bit of like a just eat the food, or just, you know, like, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. I'm like, good Lord. Like, I don't know. There's some scenes.
And he does make the point, like, this is more food than they've eaten in a week.
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
eat the
that.
damn food, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna eat the food.
I don't remember the exact line, but I liked when he was like, what does he say? You're disrespecting them, and you're making me mad, or something.
And you're embarrassing me.
Embarrassing me.
Yeah. That's it. Listen, that's a great line that a lot of us could put into normal everyday use right now.
We really could.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's beautifully said. I agree. So, you know, we get the lore behind the sacred item they have to go steal, and it's all rooted in Indian culture, you know, and it's not accurate. I mean, not 100% accurate, and it's it was claimed to be accurate. And I don't know much about Eastern culture. I've read a handful of books. I read the Bhagavad Gita. Like I've read, you know, their religious lore because I like comparative mythology. But like, I don't know. There's some things that don't feel very right with this, and there's some things that do. But there's some things where I'm like, okay, you know, I not the biggest fan.
You want to think that they did their research and stuff right, because every other MacGuffin is rooted in some sort of legend or something.
Right.
But again, I just am not well versed in that as well, and so I can't really speak to that. But yeah, you know, it's every other thing, like even down to the people don't like Crystal Skull, but Crystal Skull is an actual archaeological thing. Like crystal skulls are things that have been found, and they don't know how people made them back then. Truth is, people just we've been very good. We're human beings. We're very good at making shit. They don't need your lasers and stuff, man. I mean, come on. Anyway,
I mean,
also be able to.
So going into it from my perspective, where I hadn't watched any of the other Indiana Jones movies, I didn't know that there was cultural significance like brought in with like the MacGuffin of the movie.
Of course.
But the whole time I was watching this movie, I was like, this is some made up bullshit. Like, I was like, this is not Indian culture. And if it is, I was like, that whole thing.
Yeah.
It was so camp. It was very campy and over the top. Yeah. I was like, this ain't real.
It felt like it was made to scare you.
It's almost like a cold bucket of. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say, Scotty?
It feels like it's made to scare you. It's almost made to make you like, if you're a Catholic white person seeing this movie, you're like, oh, dude, fuck, like, I'm not.
What the hell?
Do other religions do this? You know, and you're like, because like, you know, you watch Raiders, and you've got the Wrath of God, which is, like there is
Good
an
Western
Old
ideology,
Testament. Yeah.
right?
Then
Like,
you've got Lost Ark. I'm not Lost Ark. You got Last Crusade, and it's about the Crusades. It's about Catholic, Catholicism again. And
the
then
Holy
you've
Grail.
got and Holy Grail. Then you've got Crystal Skull, which is more like Aztec, Mayan, the Central South America, lore there. Then you get this, and I think less people know, or I guess less Americans know, South, North, whatever American you are, less people know about that culture. And so you can do whatever you want. Let's see.
Here we go. Eric's got some knowledge for us here. Sankara stones are based on the lingams, which are representative of the Hindu deity Shiva, believed to be, they believe it has this energy / spirit. Okay, all right.
Well, there were some buzzwords of that in the movie.
True. It's like they just kind of like sprinkled it in there, but like this is like a giant bucket of cold 80s, like just like dumped over your head.
Oh, I know this.
Like Scotty, you were saying this too, like earlier, like we were talking about this through text, like it's so, especially when you get to the feast scene, it's so 80s.
It's
so
very
like
80s.
It's very like we are very unaware. We're just gonna make an entertaining movie.
Okay, this
kind of thing.
I did a research on this one time. This symbolizes I'm not joking. I don't mean to make it sexual.
No.
This right here refers to the penis that I can't really show you the red mark, like the actual like symbolism of this is kind of cool. And then this is referring to the vagina right here, and this is the moment of orgasm. I'm not kidding. What this symbolizes is the actual unity and creation of a person. Neither male nor female. It is like the divine like unification of life, the creation of life. So look, Mahasiva the destroyer. The existence is happening right here. Then the Brahma, which is the actual creator. It's like a really kind of a cool idea. It's where spirituality meets like real life. Anyway, I read this in a Campbell book, but the reason I bring it up is because, or the reason Eric brings it up, which is brilliant, is because it's a little bit of misrepresentation, of what actual, Indian culture is. I mean, there are some things that are correct.
It's interesting that they would choose to give power to 5 of these phallic objects.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like the men have power, and they're
Yes.
it's like, and you need 5 of them. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's not surprising that they would write something like this in the 80s.
I completely agree.
Absolutely.
And then the moments where they get to the actual palace. What's the palace called? Oh, Pankot Palace. Pankot Palace.
Mm-hmm.
That is when cultural appropriation gets fucking turned up to 11. It's just like
scene is awful.
Can we talk real quick? We skirted right past where they just put any kind of jungle animal they could think of in that jungle.
An owl.
You remember that scene around the fire?
Hold on.
There's an owl.
Owls?
I've got it on the TV in front of me here. She just picked up the bat. She was picking up her shirt, like,
it's a big bat. It's a vampire bat.
Oh no, this isn't my blouse. Oh no. But there's that. She trips over a Gila lizard.
Willie is going through it in this campfire scene.
Oh yeah,
like, girl is going through it.
I mean, they flew in some animals.
They did
for this.
The snakes. I did read that the snakes weren't allowed because they couldn't film in India. India had banned the movie. They read the script and were like, "No, this is offensive." And he was like, "You're not filming here." We're like, "Get the fuck out of here." So they ended up filming in Sri Lanka, and they had to fly in the snakes, but like the snake that she thinks is the trunk, and Sri Lanka didn't want the snakes there, so they had rented rooms for the snake and its mate. Like literally rented a room under Mr. and Mrs. Longfellow for the snakes because the snakes weren't actually allowed in the country.
That's amazing.
I love
incredible.
that.
Wow. That was a funny moment. I know the reason why they did it is because the scene was to build up to whenever she does end up thinking it's the elephant. you know,
Yeah.
and she throws it. Like, that was really funny payoff. Like, that was
Harrison's
campy.
acting in that moment cracks me up. I think it's my favorite moment of the whole movie when he's like, "Oh," because the whole time he's like, "Get over it. It's just, you know, it's no big deal, no big deal." And then the snake shows up, and then he freaks out.
And it's the one time
Hilarious.
she's not screaming at the top of her lungs.
Yep.
It's so funny to put that on his head.
Spielberg does chaos really well, and like that moment felt like the scene in Close Encounters where like everyone's talking over each other. Like, it's just a lot.
I
You
gotta
know,
watch that again.
short rounds like cheating. You know, with the ace under his like. I'm
Right.
like, this is so well done. Like, he's like, calm down. You know, and she's like, it's like so obnoxious.
He's
And then
really good at balancing all those things at once.
Oh my god, ridiculous!
And never,
And-
not really losing the track of the story of what everyone's doing.
Nope.
You know what
Yeah,
is happening.
and it just continues throughout the movie too. It doesn't get old. I wrote in my notes, I love the chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good chaos.
That's what
I think what I love about the energy is the chaotic energy of their relationship is kind of the chaotic energy of the movie, and it doesn't let up from the moment they meet. It is all the way through the end. It does not let up, and I think that's why I like this one more. Where the other ones, there's always a moment in all the other movies where I kind of lose interest and I kind of like zone out and I come back into it and I'm like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah,
every time I cannot sit through Indiana Jones movies all the way through from beginning to end.
Yeah,
I always have to stop and come back. This one I can watch from beginning to end.
Interesting. Okay, I felt the same exact way watching it in terms of pacing. It was like, bam, and then after the whole debacle of you know, the the moment in the forest, this leads to like the vampire bats and them going to the actual palace. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. I like this. Bats wouldn't fly like that, by the way. You ever seen a bat fly? They fly like they're like bats, like, because they use echolocation. They like they don't fly like.
Well, there's the
graceful.
There's the one shot. No, there is the one shot that is of the fruit bats. They're flying above the trees, and that's real.
Oh, okay then. Okay. But all I can tell you is down here in Louisiana,
fruit bats are really big.
I knew
right?
that, but they call them vampire bats, and vampire bats
They're
are
not.
like
They're fruit bats.
They're like
They
this
don't-
big.
Spooky.
Again, it's the 80s. They're trying to scare you about like, other
And look,
countries. Whoa!
It felt like a Disney ride. It felt like a Disney ride because it worked.
Really
you know,
did.
it like
Yes.
built up so well, and then they get to the palace, and this is where things are just like. Have you ever read a pamphlet about India? Well, here's the pamphlet about India. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like the dancing was beautiful. I like the energy of the dance, the
Yes.
room, the tone, the little kid prince. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I can vibe with this. And the second they sit down and serve the food, I'm like, holy
You
shit!
just
Like,
know.
That was like the worst. The
Would
worst.
you care for some beetle gonads? It's like it's so bad.
Here's
It's
some
like, I was
monkey
like,
brain.
Snake cutting open the snake and the little snakes coming out. Which is
what's
too
the
much.
surprise?
What is that?
There's more snakes. That's the surprise.
oh God, I am.
The
like,
eyeball soup. Like, what is this haunted mansion?
Okay, the
Like, what the
eyeball
fuck?
soup was so out of place though because everything else was still like animals, and then it's like, here's this soup with human eyeballs. Ooh.
I think they're meant to be monkey eyes, but yeah, either way, it's still on real.
Monkey brains.
It's monkey brains. Listen,
Which supposedly were really yummy if you ate the on-set ones, which were supposedly custard and raspberry.
Oh
Ew.
no way! I just
I was this close to having like a strawberry Italian ice on stream, but I didn't want to like offend anybody, because that's what it reminds me of. Honestly,
it's just crazy that
it's so off the wall.
The problem is this is the deeper problem is you're showing this to kids, and then let's just say I know it's the 80s, it's not quite the same as it is now. There's a little bit more culture in schools now, but in the 80s, if you had that kid that maybe happened to have family from India, right? I mean, they very well could have came to school the next day like, how was your monkey brain? It's like that's how and then it showed all them
You know how many times that's probably happened? Absolutely.
Well,
so many.
They're all eating it like they don't know how to eat, and I'm like, oh god, this is so distasteful. Like this is the one like
They
and,
pulled the
and
back
Jerry,
off the beetle and eat it like a fucking crawfish.
Yeah,
Listen,
he's
that's how people from Louisiana eat.
That's how we
okay?
eat crawfish.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's
how
we eat-
Louisiana people.
I can attest.
We've
I
saw
popped
some,
into that
Scotty.
stream. I popped
Yes!
into that stream. I
Scotty,
saw it. You were stuck in
after
the head.
after the wedding, we were sucking heads and everything. It was,
That's
it was
right.
I
great.
mean, that's just a Friday night for me, but
Oh,
It's just
hell
night.
yeah.
Nightly.
Busting balls and sucking hoods. No, I was watching this just. Yeah, and you know what? That's true. I'm glad Nick brought it in here. It is the first PG-13 movie, and I can see why it got that rating. Because it was 84 when this came
and
out.
Gremlins 2, right? Gremlins
Wow.
2, right? Yeah,
Wow.
but the only reason why that like those movies didn't get rated R was because Spielberg was attached to them.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's got the pull for it.
He did at the time.
There was, I'm glad. One thing I did like is that this movie did not have like a full-on sex scene. I was actually really impressed by that. Like on top of all this, I was like, there was the moment where they're like building up to them boning, and they did end up boning, which was kind of, it was nice. I'm like, I don't want to watch like a whole thing where they bang after eating monkey brains.
Like a gratuitous like topless shot, which was really like we were really close to having that. Like I'm surprised they didn't get that far. I mean, I think they got away with it because then they have all the jokes about the statuary where she grabs fondles the breast of the statuary.
Well, but you are forgetting we did get a topless shot, but it wasn't of the female love interest. It was of Indy.
Yeah.
Oh god,
Katie,
he is
so hot.
slutty as hell in this movie.
I was sitting next to my wife.
Open every chance he gets.
Sitting next to Katie,
like me in that picture, Scotty. She's like,
oh yeah. Hold on, where's it? I'll pull it up. So I'm sitting next to my wife and her. Look, here we go. Here's Indiana Cable.
Indiana Cable right there. Put a fedora on me.
Katie's sitting next to me. She looks at me. She goes, "How old was Harrison Ford in this movie?" I'm like, "Fuck you! Like you just want to know." So I asked,
probably my age.
He's like,
honestly.
40. Harrison Ford was 40
he was older than
me. Yeah, 40. Beautiful.
Jesus Christ, that man is old.
You know what? It's funny.
He did work out to get that bod.
Yeah. Well, he's coming.
Listen. My dad's a carpenter. He never looked like that at 40. I'm just saying.
No,
I know Harrison was too. But
they knew that he was going to be shirtless, so Harrison and Steven were on a workout regimen, and then
so
Steven
he had to have the titties right.
Yes,
you got it. They got to be all in the right place.
But it's funny because the way he looks, and this is a very, at least to me, this is a very like thing you notice, like if you're a guy, like the way he's built is like the most natural build. You know what I mean? It's not like not lifting weights built. This is like push-ups build. This is like pull-ups build. This is all using your actual strength to benefit you.
If you gave a shit build,
which was his workout.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so it wasn't like he wasn't like lifted.
Nope.
It was like not okay. I love that because that really does play to his character more. Because he would be naturally, have a physique like that if he was an actual like archaeologist per se, like an adventurer, really. And like
spelunker.
He was shirtless the most. I think this is the most shirtless he is in any of the movies
in anything ever.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Like,
yeah,
I was really enjoying it, and I'm not bi or anything, but I was like, man, maybe I am because this is it.
He's hot. He's so hot.
Listen,
hot.
Like the most hot I think Harrison has ever been in anything ever.
I agree.
He's like the perfect haircut, like the
sweaty.
Like,
I mean,
like
even
sweaty,
when he,
shirtless. The
even
acting is perfect.
Yep.
The nerdy glasses is what did it for me. Once he put on the nerdy glasses, I was like, oh shit.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. He looks like my Uncle Ken.
Hello, Uncle Ken, if you're watching.
When he was that age, that's what my Uncle Ken looked like. Is Indy in this? And so like maybe I'll find a picture.
I'm sorry, those genes did not get passed down, Jerry.
No, it's fine. It'll be okay. I'll
kidding.
survive. I got the Zach Galifianakis. It's fine. It's okay.
I'm trying to get a picture of him. Oh my god, here's a good shot.
Of
Good
Uncle.
Lord. No, not of the uncle. Not of Jerry's uncle. Sorry.
No, it's yeah. Mom, if you're watching,
pictures?
hopefully you're not, but
Mom, if you're watching.
I'm like, why does Scotty have pictures of Jerry's uncle?
But it's weird. It's also this
looks really
this
good.
like I don't know what it is. I feel like men in the 80s and the 70s don't look the same as men do now. Like,
no,
I couldn't tell you what it is.
Hey, when they say what happened to real men, this is the real men they're talking about.
This is
the
the
crop
only
tops and the short
acceptable.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah,
Men used to wear crop. Like, it's crazy to me how often men were in the 80s wore crop tops and the shortest shorts ever. And you're like,
hold on, here's
this
a really
the
good
sluttiest
one.
outfit ever.
There's actually like a shot of Harrison from this time period that several years ago I decided that was going to be my look, and I haven't achieved it yet. But it was him in just like a classic, just very plain button up jeans and a blazer, and it is just the most stylish thing. And I'm like, that's my baseline. That's gonna be my baseline for whenever it's cold enough for me to like take the blazer out.
Yep.
You know, kind of thing.
I've seen that photo. It is very hot.
Right?
Here's
the sunglasses and all that kind of stuff.
Thirst over.
It's everything I want to be as a man. It's everything I want to be.
Just spend the whole rest of this time talking about how hot.
We honestly could.
Right?
Good Lord.
And at the time, my understanding is his workout is literally just push-ups and pull-ups and regular calisthenics.
Wow.
Well,
I have 4 years. I have 4 years to get to this place right here. I am 36. Okay, I have 4 years to get to this body. So
I believe in you, Jerry. You can do it.
Thank you. We got it.
Can definitely do it.
Thank you, friends. It's not going to happen, but it's a good thought.
Do we want to keep diving into the whole dinner scene, or are we past that? Because
it's offensive. It's childish. Even the crew talk about how childish this scene is. We talk. Larry Kasdan talks about not writing the script because he felt like they were pretty mean spirited about doing this. It's offensive, and like they took all of their negative feelings, both George and Steven, and they put it into this movie, and neither one of them are very fond of it because
they're not.
They let their worst selves out into this movie, and it definitely shows. And it is very much mean spirited.
Yeah.
Oh
now, as a story, it's wonderfully paced, and so that's probably why I think this is my favorite of the indie films.
So I have to ask then, now this kind of makes sense. Is that why Willie's so obnoxious and whiny and everything? Because they were going through their divorces or just finished going through them when they wrote it?
Yep.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I thought Steven was still married.
He had remarried.
She's the avatar of the ex-wife, which I
he
get.
He was in a new relationship.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. Because he doesn't marry her until like 91, which was like 5 years later.
During Schindler's List, like it was around the time he was working on all those movies. But I can see why now, in terms of what we understand about culture, and the internet really has changed that for us. Like, as much as we shit on the internet, we're way more aware of what is right and what is wrong because of the internet. And and obviously then they were very much aware of what they were doing was offensive, but it's almost like this edgelord thing, we're looking back at movies from 2010 and 2009 now, kind of like, ooh, like you didn't have to go that far when saying a certain line or doing things. Let's see. Yep. So Willie was his projection of her annoying, etc. Man. Ooh.
Imagine George just sitting there like, what if we made her a bitch?
I mean, I understand that there's like the production notes, the pre-production notes are like been transcribed, and I hear they're pretty bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have not read them, but there's a lot. Like they're just them talking, and some things you're just like, ooh, guys, this is not showing you in a good light. I would have found a way to hide. George spent all that time and energy getting rid of the holiday special. He should have got rid of those. Like it's out there. But another interesting thing too that I read was that Chris Columbus had taken a stab at writing the script, but they said it in Africa, and it was even worse and more offensive and stereotypical.
Oh, well, if it was Christopher Columbus, he sailed the ocean blue.
Wrong, Chris Columbus, sir.
He was messing up all kinds of racially insensitive things, so it makes sense.
About the same. They're about the same as Chris Columbus's go, though.
One made a Harry Potter.
God.
Okay, well, like... But Chris Columbus also did everyone's favorite, Home Alones, so...
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
There's a balance. Look, it's the thing with Hollywood. We have to now understand was back then, like, it was all about objectifying women. It was all about objectifying different cultures.
Watch the movie Babylon. Watch the movie Babylon. Honestly.
Great example. Yep.
That's Hollywood was like that through the 80s, the 90s, all that kind of shit.
It was,
basically.
The little bit of time I spent in Hollywood definitely was, you'd see it. It was I was unsettling. It's the reason why it was one of the many reasons I didn't stay in Hollywood working. Because I'm just like, this is not a healthy
good
place to be, and I just couldn't do it. Like, this is we had not progressed enough for it to be a healthy place for a out and bisexual man who's part Mexican to be trying to make a living. That was only just like 7 or 8 years ago. Like, the fact that like if that was just a handful of years ago, what was it like in the 80s?
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Of course,
imagine the mounds of cocaine. I mean, just
so
imagine.
much cocaine, so much cocaine, so many backdoor blowjobs, like gay ones too. Well, I guess gay ones and straight ones. There was all over the place.
Yeah.
Listen, the casting couch was well worn during the 80s. Honestly,
real thing.
Honestly,
real thing. And like you take a movie like this, and you obviously can look at lens of today, but like there's just things you just shouldn't be able to get away with. And like I'm watching this, like really thinking like, wow, some of this is on Disney Plus, and I'm surprised there wasn't a warning before it. I was genuinely anticipating like a
What is it? What do they say it's braided for or something?
No, let me look it up. I don't know. I wonder.
Because I remember watching Raiders and it says for tobacco depictions. Like, all right, Disney Plus.
I'm gonna tell you in a second. I'm getting it pulled up.
You know how Indy feels about tobacco depictions.
Oh yeah, punch it. Yeah, listen, get those cigarettes out of my face.
Let's see.
They said we don't need a warning in this movie. We got a scene.
There is nothing on here. There is nothing on here that is like weary. You know what I mean? Like there's like if you watch the old like Disneyland things, you know what I mean? They're like racial depictions of African American people. You know what I mean? Like
the Muppet Show has it like every other episode. You watch the original Muppet Show, right? You watch the animated Spider-Man cartoons, and they'll do it on those. So when they did not have it on this, I was blown away because I'm like, I've seen some of these other shows that I'm like, that was small, and I think most people missed it, and you still put it there. This is glaring. It's you can't miss it. And if you are, you're brain dead. Like you can't miss how offensive this is, and they didn't put a notice on it on the beginning of the movie, and I think that is bullshit.
Yeah. It's
Brian,
very
I couldn't focus on the bloody face melting because of all the tobacco depictions.
Mr. Jones. So to move into like the deeper part of the plot, the things that I think this movie did really well was scare you. And like, look, this is the scariest one. Like, hands down, I'm watching this like, man, if I saw this in the 80s and I was like a kid, this would have freaked me out big time.
It was definitely scary.
It was scary, like the
one
bugs.
of the scariest aspects, though, especially so like because like you bring in Short Round, he kind of is a character that we see this journey through, and then you take this person who's kind of like a father figure to him. Yeah, the brown face is bad. There is brown face in
that's a glaring
all of the
one.
movies.
Oh my
actually,
god!
all three
with
of
the
these
fake
movies.
mustaches and everything, I was noticing. I was like, those
all
are
three of the first
dinner,
movies have brown face.
The dude at the dinner with the very like, it looks like he's got like he took like feathers from a boa or something. And just,
it's ridiculous.
Stretched them across his face.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah. And then you take this father figure to Short Round and you turn him into the villain unwillingly, right? And all he wants to do through the whole like last part of the movie is save this friend, right? He's like, "You're my best friend. I love you, Indy," right? Like, and that's the main villain for a while is trying to save Indy. He becomes the villain for a while. He's quite
I kind
scary.
of like that
after drinking blood, by the way, which is like
right.
And then he has like the seizure convulsion.
Why did my
thing.
Why did my Christian parents let me watch this?
I have no idea. I don't know why
That's
my
the
mom.
thing too. It depicts,
my mom was so inconsistent.
Well, it depicts
Mine
this
too.
like this really primal, almost like evil side of culture. You know, like I was saying, like if you're a little Catholic kid, little white Catholic kid in the 80s, you'd be like, "Oh my god, what the hell do they do in India?"
The idea of that, like white supremacy that is inherent in a lot of the American ideals, right?
Yeah.
Like their they're still that they're savages is still a thing, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
we get this is the thuggy cult. We get the word thug from this cult.
Literally, it says it right
which
there.
is still an offensive word because it went from referring to Indian men, and now if you use it, you're generally using it. If you hear it, it's generally being used to refer to a black man, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's still a very offensive word to this day, and we get it from this cult that was in India, and the British didn't start using the word until they were trying to eradicate these men, and it is crazy to me that they thought that this was the villains they wanted to use in this movie.
And then the British guy comes in and saves him at the end. So
yeah, that was the last little bit. I'm like, damn. Like they could have just got out of it. You know what I mean? Like they could have just easily climbed up and got away, but that's not what they're gonna do here. And like, I like the ritualistic scenes. I think they're very cool. I think they're meant to freak you out a little bit. It feels to me, it's like it does feel like a Disney ride. You're like, oh my god, like this is very visceral. I know there are cultures in like New Guinea and like cultures in like Aboriginal Australia that were very graphic, like in that way. Like they would literally like castrate men, and like there's another way of castration. Like they castrated, like I forget what it's called, but they literally like it's just like there were really violent tribal like actions. One of the ones I can't remember the name of it, but they used to castrate the man from the top of the penis to like well into the balls, and like they like fully split the male open
like a boiled hot dog.
Then they'd sew it back together, and then they'd make them drink the blood of that part. And it was like it was a way to be assimilated into the culture. It's crazy, but this wasn't far off from like the very primal side of being a human being, like your beating heart. It's pretty wild. I was I was in that moment. You know what I mean?
It is interesting to see that the mean-spiritedness of the movie, as to quote Lawrence Kasdan, to see how Indy changes from this point on going forward. Because, we get the third movie a few years later, and then we get the TV series, which has its issues. But the idea behind it is still this wonderful idea of being able to teach American children other cultures and history. And you're like, why? Like, why does this not line up with that vision that you have later? And I think there is a bit of repentance and like, oh, I fucked up, but we needed to make it amends that George has later when he does the Indiana Jones Chronicles / Adventures. Right, because it's both.
Because Alden Diaz explained that to me, that it's
so dumb.
It's not bad. I watched the first episode. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, it's good. But the changing of the names, I'm just like, you could have just kept the same name.
Makes no sense.
No.
But Scotty, as a new fan into this kind of thing, what did you think of that whole scene?
So I have like this fever dream memory of watching this scene when I was young or something.
Same.
And it being a little ooky spooky, but like as I've grown up, I'm like very much a spooky girly. So like I was very into it. It's that thing where it's like it makes me uncomfortable, but I like it.
Yes, you like spooky things.
So yeah, and it's very dark, which I also love. I knew at some point that they were going to get caught like in the little balcony area where they were kind of watching over. I just didn't know when. So once Indy goes down and like gets the stones for the first time, and Willie and Short Round are just standing up there, I completely forgot that someone was going to grab them at some point. So when that head popped up, I jumped.
Yeah.
I love that.
Nice. It scared the shit out of me. But like I said, I like spooky shit like that. And that's what I like about spooky shit, is like the way that it makes you feel and makes you anxious, but you want more. And like, I feel like that's kind of how Indy and Short Round, at least, I feel like, well, even Willie, because she was like, diamonds, what? Oh, let me look and see what's going on now.
Of course.
Everybody was,
girl's best friend.
They were like a little spooked out, but they wanted more. So like, I was right there with them.
Right. I'm amazed at the elements that Disney has continued to mine from these movies for their theme parks. right? Because you have, like, my understanding is that in Paris there's a mine cart ride.
There
that's
is,
kind of
yeah.
their thing. Taking the old stunt shows, there are elements of these scenes in the stunt shows, and of course, the different temple rides at Disneyland and in Hong Kong. I want to say Hong Kong, but
Yeah, I
it
think
might
it's
be
Hong Kong.
Tokyo. I forget. I've not been, so. But
Yeah.
like the fact that like you get these elements of these things that we continue to mine, like as if they are the tried and true elements of Indiana Jones, like temples and hidden treasures and the perilous booby traps. Right? That was one of those things I think was really fun, was the scene with the booby traps and they're all of those bugs. I don't like bugs, guys. I don't like bugs. I don't like Peter
They got the
Crawleys.
most fucked up looking bugs too.
Well, they got bugs that wouldn't
with
exist
the
in
giant
India.
arms and
Yeah,
stuff.
the ones that would not exist in India. I was
Every
like, this
bug.
is kind of cool.
Every
the
bug
leafy
possible
bug
they
that she
got.
carries is hilarious because it's like the
Every
most
kind.
docile type bugs, like the leaf
Oh, it is.
stick bugs are really
Stick
the
bug.
most docile things. But
Uh-huh.
like, oh my god, you're scared of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
They are
another
scary if you don't
scene
know.
too. That's
Yeah.
another scene that made me jump when Willie goes down there to get them out of the little booby trap, and when Indy sticks his hand out at her, like through the hole,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Wrong hole!" Like, I jumped at that part too, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
The fist. He's just a fist the
Indy
whole
loves
time.
some fisting, let me tell you. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I was
He
just
does.
like, I don't know what it was. It wasn't even that scary. I'm not
No.
really freaked out
But
by
they
bugs,
build the
but
tension enough that yes,
Oh,
when
yeah.
there's a sudden like change, like yes, of course it comes out.
It was
It's
look.
meant
I
to
said it
scare you.
earlier. It is the best shot movie in the. I
Mhm.
guess at least to me from like the '80s set of these movies. I love Crystal Skull. That one looks the best to me. But watching this one, I'm like, this is like really well done in terms of its intensity and like how they're jumping from shot to shot, like short round to the spikes to her walking through, then to Indy. I'm like, this is like, and his hat's getting pressed down. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
man. I'm like, this is honestly very
It's a-
good still. Like
I think
not silly.
George and Spielberg had learned a lot from Marcia as for like pacing and
Oh,
editing.
yes.
Yeah.
Because like this is definitely one of those like those scenes that relies on the editing and the cuts, like to build the tension, to build the pace, to that chaos, the energy between their banter back and forth. It helps relieve some of that tension, but also builds the tension.
Yeah.
Right. But it keeps kids from thinking like, oh, there's it's scary and something might happen to them. Not really. There's an option out where kids
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
too scared, but just enough, just scared enough.
Mhm.
Right. And I think they do it so brilliantly. Just the editing in that scene, just chef's kiss.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And like
Boop,
even
they are also correct here. One of the best moments. We are going to die.
Yeah. Harrison's delivery, acting in this movie really is some of my favorite.
you can tell he loves this role. He loves this role.
Mhm.
Like
Oh yeah.
so
this
much.
is he eats this up. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
his pride and joy.
Uh-huh.
Indiana Jones. I mean, look at him in the movies, like we were talking about earlier. Like he's like, oh, an indie movie. Let me start getting my body right.
Uh-huh.
Like,
That's right.
Star Wars, he's like, kill me off, please. It's funny.
Can
So,
Han Solo have a gut in this one?
just kill him. I can't stand playing this character.
George, I think you should kill him now.
Yeah, I was for the first time, at least in the whole movie, I was like super invested in like how this movie was edited and how this movie was done. And I'm like, this is actually that's aged well. The intensity of every scene is aged really well. And then of course, they get captured. There's the moment where you obviously have to watch Indiana Jones get tortured, and like it's brutal. They talk about the blood drinking and stuff, and like Short Round getting whipped was look, that's the best way to win an audience over is when you take an innocent character and have them be involved in it. And like that was brutal to watch.
All they had to do at the beginning of the John Wick series is kill the puppy, and then like everything else that man does is justified.
Justified.
For 4 movies.
All of us are like, yes, he's totally right to do everything he does from then on.
Yes. But no, you're right. Yeah, he goes like, leave him alone, kind of a thing. I think he only gets like one hit, like
one
actually
good
that we
hit.
see.
Yeah,
but still, oof.
But
it's brutal.
It is rough. It's rough to watch.
He lets out one of like
all those children for slave labor was just tough. It's really tough to see. Like,
Yeah,
It's a lot.
I found watching this after becoming a parent. I am in tears by the end, and all the little kids are
with the
coming back
kids
to their
coming back,
families.
yeah.
The reaction that is genuine to me. The
Mhm.
reaction of the mothers and the fathers and all of them getting their kids back. That's very genuine. I tear up every time. Anyway,
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Scotty, I believe you were going to say something a minute ago, weren't you?
Oh, I was just gonna say that specifically. I noticed there's only like 2 or 3 cuss words in the entire movie, but
Yeah.
specifically in the whipping scene, I think Indy calls them bastards or something when they're going to whip short round, and that's like one of the 2 or 3 that's said in the movie. So yeah, they were pulling at the emotions.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that was one of those things that was cut for the UK. There's like a minute or so from the UK version, and that was one of the things they cut was his use of the bastards. You leave them alone, bastards, or whatever. They cut the bastards part. So
Buck sent us a video that I wanted to share because it's from
this is
that
a good time
scene.
for this.
This is a really good time for this.
It's hard to
because
see this.
It's very hard. It's very blurry. The video is like seriously in like what's the lowest quality? In like 144p. It's like really low quality. But what this is, can you actually explain this? Because I when I watched, I couldn't.
So this is a practical joke that the crew had played on Harrison Ford while he was tied up to be whipped, and Barbara Streisand walks in a dominatrix outfit to whip him, and then Carrie Fisher comes in to save him, like, oh, leave him alone, and then as they're acting, Irving Kershner, wonderful director of The Empire Strikes Back, comes in and is like, I'm not believing you're acting. I need you guys to do it better. And criticizing Steven Spielberg for not being a better director. And that's just a quick little practical joke.
It's so weird. It is. I was not sure what was going on when I first watched it. All right, let's see this thing go down live.
It's hard to see.
God, is that Sasquatch?
That's me.
No actor says that.
This is a cocaine-fueled idea.
It was. There's no way Carrie was not high at this moment.
Bro, that's great.
Yeah.
God, was that like at a celebration? Like, what is that from?
It had come up on my timeline a little while ago, so it was really funny that were like, hey, you want to come talk about this movie? I was like, well, I have this bookmark.
I almost feel like we're like not supposed to see that. Like nobody was supposed to see that except for the crew, and it's just like they've got this horrible quality clip. Like, why was Barbara Streisand like it's a leaked clip? But
yeah,
so
bizarre. But I love it. I love the chaos.
Oh, there we go. And that's the one thing
it's a good laugh.
It is a good laugh. And like if anything, the end of this movie is like some of the best Indiana Jones because there's so much payoff with like, okay, they're gonna kill the bad guy, you know, that is obviously like really just this weird god worshiping. I don't know, he thinks he's a god kind of character. I forget his name. What is his name? I have it written down. Molaram. Yeah. Molaram is an interesting villain because this is the one that's not after. Well, he wants the Sincari stones, but he's not like. Well, I guess he does. Never mind. I'm wrong. He wants to use it for world. Yeah, he wants power. Never mind. I was thinking he was just like a dick, but no, he does want power. He wants to rule the world or whatever he says. All five.
He's definitely up there for indie villains. Not the best, but he's up there.
Yeah,
he's definitely up there. There are much cheesier and like campier villains, but
Yeah.
And I love that the actor, had a successful career, in Bollywood in the years.
Oh, really? I did not realize that. That's awesome.
So,
I mean,
he ended up playing a lot more villains, but
yeah,
he had a successful career.
I feel like this role was still very camp, just maybe a different kind of camp. But he was high camp with the headdress and the heart. And
Which, let's talk about that real quick. Can we talk about the offensiveness of the headdress? That's made up of cow parts, bull parts, which are sacred in India. So, like, why the fuck would you put that? Like, it's like the most sacrilegious thing, like, to do, and to make his headdress out of cow parts is like, come on, guys.
I'm gonna get a picture pulled up real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
While we're on the list, we said we'd get the stuff out of the beginning, but it's just all through this movie. It's all through this movie. But Eric is right here. Voodoo is a Haitian thing, nothing to do with India.
Okay.
Where the hell did that come from? Yeah,
that was like a fun little. Ooh, let's just voodoo.
What about a voodoo doll?
Yeah, that made no sense. Being from Louisiana,
brown people do.
I have seen voodoo dolls.
What it feels like, right?
Yeah.
For comic book fans, I wonder if any of this has any of the inspirations for Brother Blood in the Teen Titans comics.
Oh, I don't know.
Scotty, that is the most hilarious picture you could have pulled up there.
Very flattering.
But look at it. And at one point, he's like petting the little shrunken head too. He's like petting it, talking to Indiana Jones. I'm like, what is happening here?
Those eyebrows refuse to quit. By the way,
the reptile teeth, the alligator teeth. You know what else?
Fantastic.
One thing I wanted to bitch about being a biologist is that they put alligators in India when it's actually crocodiles. So that's just one small.
Well, it's because they filmed those in Florida.
Yeah, that was So like I'm like those are.
This movie is just.
Those are not crocodiles, which are native
Owls,
to
crocodiles.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference.
Gila monsters.
I don't know the difference. It's their teeth. It's where their teeth are located. That's silly.
That snout.
And their snout's like shorter, and it's like my cock. It's just like shorter, but also it's got like a big bump at the end of it. Anyway, sorry, it's not as flat.
That is
it's
not how I would
split down the side, sewn back together.
Yes, that's what they did to me.
Y'all can see that on the Bombad Patreon.
Good Lord. No, yeah, I'm watching this movie and I'm in it. I'm in the moment. We're towards the end. I'm like, man, I'm looking at like how much time is left. 20 minutes. I'm like, cool. This is a good 20 minutes. And can someone tell me why I wore this shirt? Can someone tell me why I wore this shirt? The goddamn minecart scene, maybe the best scene in Indiana Jones.
So good.
It's so good.
My God. I had no idea how well that aged. And I was expecting like, the indoor, speeder bike thing. I was expecting like, it looks okay. But like watching the minecart thing, I was like, oh my God, this actually looks superb.
It's so funny.
It looks a lot better than them climbing around on the cliff at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really
There's a part with Indy climbing. It's like him just climbing on a blue mattress, and it's like you can tell.
And they even like bother
like this.
They didn't even bother to like animate in like handholds or anything. He's just climbing up a smooth part of the
he is Spider-Man in that shit. Yeah,
he was.
So it's funny that you mentioned the Endor scene specifically because I thought of that scene when they were in the raft going down the snowy mountain.
Oh,
some of those trees going by, I was like, oh God, this looks like Endor. But the minecart thing did look really real. And it held up so well. And I think it's because they used a miniature like model set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, for the water part later, but a lot of it was that they had built a loop around the set for the tracks.
Yeah. You're right.
And they just kept changing the lighting every time they would finish a loop.
It's
and
brilliant.
So it just keeps continuing to loop and loop. And it is good. There are miniatures like parts of the shot, especially like for like lava, all that, and later for the water. But they had it built a track around the set, like, and just built like painted like aluminum foil and shit on the side. So I think it does look good. I want to ride. Supposedly this is the ride in Paris. I want to ride this ride. Like,
oh,
I want to ride. I've always wanted to ride that other indie ride. There's like an indie ride in Disneyland I haven't got to ride.
Oh, it was good. It's a good ride.
You haven't read it?
Me and Eric Cotterman went on it when we were in Disneyland.
I've seen the stunt extravaganza. That's all I've done Indiana Jones wise.
It's funny that y'all mentioned Disney too, because in Podcast of the Wills put this in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
But the train sounds for the minecart were recorded in Disneyland at night.
Yep.
Like,
thank you.
They turned all the music off of the rides and like let them go in and record and ride them and get like the sounds from it.
Brilliant.
Other sounds that we all recognize for the lava, the sound of the lightsaber igniting.
Yeah.
The sounds of the engines, like
something sounds like the AT-AT. What? There was something I was watching. What was it? Churn.
Right. Yeah. Oh man.
What was it? Maybe it was in the airplane. Maybe I don't know. I was watching it. And I poked him like that's the AT-AT's foot. Like that's that noise.
The lightsaber one was jarring to me.
Oh,
it is now. It definitely is now.
Hold up there.
And it's specifically
What's going on
Darth
here?
Vader's lightsaber igniting.
Wow. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I was in love with the whole minecart scene.
Better,
I didn't,
Oh, so good.
God damn.
I didn't realize how much I really would have enjoyed the minecart scene now, but edge of my seat.
It
edge of
holds
my
up,
seat.
man.
And yeah, like Jerry said, the the wall climbing, not so much. The wall
With
climbing
them
was
shuffling around the edge
crazy.
of the thing. You know?
That shit looked nuts.
Oh my god, Boop.
Thank you, Boop.
Yes, Boop. You're a babe
Yes.
too.
Hell yes.
Yeah, you can't convince me otherwise that the minecart thing was not in some way,
Well, it was in
riffed.
the script for Raiders, and they couldn't
Was
make it work.
it?
So yeah, so
Look
they
at
removed
you.
that element and put it into this one. There were a couple of things that didn't make it into the first movie that made it into this one, and that was one of them.
Buck,
Wow.
And then-
do you
Yeah.
know these things off the top of your head, or did you watch the same review videos I did? In fact, videos
I didn't watch
before the
any
stream.
review videos.
You're hitting all the points, and I'm like, "Oh, this was in the video I watched."
I haven't watched any review videos. I love
Flashback.
this so much. Yes.
Flashback anxiety. Good
Again,
Lord.
there's no way that level is not inspired
No,
by
There's
Temple
no
of Doom.
way. I
That
completely
thing
agree.
is like so ingrained now into the zeitgeist. Like everyone, it's just there in the pop culture, man.
Great scene. Well, the best I would say one of the best scenes in the whole movie is the ending scene with them on the bridge. And like, look, we all knew the outcome. We know there's a third movie. Like, it's not like you're confused. You know what I mean? But you're watching it and you're like, damn, this is really intense. You've got people on both sides. Indiana Jones is stuck in the middle. I love that he speaks. Was he speak Mandarin or what? What does he speak to
Mandarin.
Short Round? And he's like, whoop, wraps it up. She does it too. He
Yeah.
does it, and I'm like, that's a really good payoff from the very, very beginning.
I only speak it in special occasions.
Well, see, and I also love the fact that it starts with the confrontation, that way, and it ends with the confrontation. Just like stakes are high. How do we get out of this? Like it's, man, that's a great.
We love a hero who gets themselves in way over their heads, and the only way out is to do the most batshit crazy thing ever, right? Like,
and just hope.
Like,
oh yeah.
You just hold on tight, guys. Like that's all you can do is hope you're not gonna go down because everyone else goes down, right? Like, but our heroes, right? Like they all stay on, and then he has that like one final confrontation with Malaram fighting over the abyss, right? Before he gets eaten by the
Oh no,
alligators.
The alligator shots were a little cringy though.
They were.
It's like, oh no, they're tearing his clothes.
And I feel like one of the scenes was like flipped, like of the alligator rolling. I was like, I feel like I saw this, and now I'm seeing it again from like a flip perspective.
Try spinning. That's a good trick.
Literally.
Exactly.
Marsha didn't teach him that one.
No.
That's definitely one he learned here and then used again many times in the prequels.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
Just flip the shot.
Dud Bolt in the prequel is a famous example that just reversed.
Yeah, no, then it was interesting too because like we're talking about like edits to the UK version. One of the things is when the people are falling down. I think it's Malaram when he falling down the cliff, he hits his head on the side, and they edited that out of the UK version as well.
Oh, really?
Hell, I thought the UK anything fly like
I
flew
thought
over
the
there.
same thing when you said
Yeah.
bastard. They cut that out. I was like, they say cunt over there. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's because they didn't
So
say
much
he
more
was supposed to say
friendly.
cunt. Actually, yeah.
Malaram. Symbol of doom.
Well, listen.
Yeah. What's up, Jared?
I was just gonna say, look, I do like the fight scene with the man in brown face on the that is the man, right? Like in brown face. That's the
Mhm.
same guy
He's
he
one of
fights
many.
that's the same guy who gets caught up in the propeller blades.
Yes, in the first movie.
In
They
the
wanted
first
to-
movie.
They wanted to have him in all of the movies, and that didn't end up happening.
But you didn't have to put him in brown face.
You really didn't, right? Because white people can
'cause you
also
just had
just
him be like a
terrible,
white
too.
guy.
It
Right,
could have
I
just
mean-
been a white guy who was
And
terrible.
Harrison Ford is tan as hell already, so like
Right.
he could have just got in the sun.
Right. Well, but just I will say I do like that Rock Crusher fight though. I do like that.
Yes.
Like I like that
Yes.
thing. I like that by the end he's trying to help him not get crushed.
Uh-huh,
And then he like
and-
still goes under. That's another staple of indie movies. Is you've got to have one gruesome bad guy death
Mhm.
per
Uh-huh.
movie.
At
One
least
absolutely gruesome bad
Well,
guy.
he's now had it in 2 of the movies, right? Like the
Yeah,
propeller
yeah.
and now the
2
rock
for
crusher.
2.
Okay,
2 for 2.
Mhm.
let's not forget the
Go ahead.
gruesome scene of the guy who gets hung by the fan towards the beginning of the
Oh,
movie.
that is
That was really
there's even a
gruesome.
shot of Short Round going
Yeah.
looking away,
I
trying to protect
know.
his childlike innocence.
I saw that scene and I was like, oh, they're really going there. Oh, now he's just hanging.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Then
did
they
have
Kill
turn
the
it off.
power, right? He tells him to turn it off.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but we'll just leave him. Someone can find him later. Like
He drops down right
Oh
after
yeah,
the
he
trailer.
hits.
he does.
Boom. Yeah, he hits hard.
Yeah, he drops down. Yeah.
So if he wasn't dead yet, he is now.
That's
There
a-
you
Now
go.
you know.
There you
Man.
go.
Gruesome, but yeah.
No,
But
that's
I do love
there's-
the stunt of cutting the bridge. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the fact that they did that is probably one of the more fun things. They talk about Steven not liking heights, so he would to film he would drive around and go the long way to come to the other side where Harrison had no problem. He would just run back and forth.
That's crazy.
They built, and I guess there was like a British like engineer crew near where they were filming, so they built them that bridge. So it was like a brand new bridge just for them.
It feels very real. Besides the alligator cuts, it does feel like a very real moment when you're watching it. I don't know.
The only thing they filmed on set was like them hanging from the side. Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
filmed later. So
You know what's funny too? John Williams, we haven't mentioned this. This is when
God,
the
how?
actual Raiders theme maybe soars more. Like, because in Raiders, you hear the Indiana Jones theme more or less as a transitional piece when he's in the plane, and you hear it in moments of triumph. But this shit, like the whole climax, dun, 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 and like they're all escaping, the kids are all escaping from the slave labor, and like it's like the music is so real.
you
and
can't
so
get it out of your
there.
head afterwards.
No, you
right? Because it
can't.
is so triumphant and joyful and yeah.
It's huge. And this is the one where you can tell John Williams really leaned into it. And look, something to be said about this. When John Williams does do like a culture piece, he does it from all angles. He does the chanting. He does the actual what you would call like the really authentic rhythms of the culture. Like I could tell that was done with respect. Not done with any malicious intent. It's not like they said anything stupid. Maybe I'm wrong, but like John Williams researches like, I know when it comes to like Duel of the Fates, isn't it all like Sanskrit? Like isn't it all like really
Sanskrit,
ancient languages? Like I
There was
love
a
that
specific poem he uses,
Okay, there you go. So I love that John Williams, he's not the type to lean into the, the distasteful nature that it could lead into,
Well, and the fact that like so much of like Hindi and the languages there are derivative of Sanskrit, I can see this probably did lead him more to knowing more about that music for later when he does write things like Duel of the Fates. And I think if he had scored this movie even 10 years later, he probably would have incorporated more of the cultural like influences and brought in other collaborators at the time. At that time it wasn't as prominent to do for the composers. So, but once he had more, like he was already a big name, but like once he had that power, he started collaborating more and bringing in these elements. And I think I would love to hear what he would do with this in the late 90s, early 2000s, because there would definitely be more of those Indian elements.
I agree. That's honestly why I'm so excited for Dial of Destiny, if I'm going to be honest with you. A whole other John Williams score since The Rise of Skywalker. Like,
we thought Rise was going to be the last one. I mean, I didn't really think.
Well, he did the Fablemans.
What he said.
Oh, he did Fablemans as well. That's true. Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. So yeah.
And the Kenobi theme.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Right.
we were there for that. That's true.
But like
You
a
can't
full
stop.
like
Knowledge.
scoring of like a Lucasfilm project. Yeah, it's
Ah,
it's pretty
exciting.
special. It's pretty special.
really good music. It's really good music.
That man is one of the most talented people for us to have been blessed with a man who has lived for as long as he has to continue to gift us with his talent, and someone who, you know, by all accounts, you know, from the people who know him, is one of the most nicest, like kindest people in the world. Is very telling. Like we do not deserve John Williams.
Not at all.
But I'm very grateful that we continue to be blessed with his music, and I cannot wait for the Dial of Destiny score to drop.
now that we've gotten you know, Pat Robertson off the face of this planet and everything, maybe some of those years
Scales are balancing, man.
maybe he could take those years, like John Williams could have those, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they were. He was like 93, right? Like, how old is John right now? He's like he's in his 90s.
91 or 2 at this point. I think.
Goddamn, give him all of Pat Robertson's leftover years. Just give it to him.
It's very rare that you find a
Betty White,
man,
please give us
a
your
white
power.
man in his
Keep John
90s
Williams alive.
that you can respect. Like,
Legitimately.
like deeply respect. Like, I'm serious.
Honestly, yes. For a man that calls everyone baby and everything,
baby,
say that.
it's like he is.
But you
he's
know
still
it's not
so
from that
respectable.
place.
Right, it's
Well, he
not
goes,
like
I-
sweetheart or darling, you know.
No, he calls it's like jazz. It's a jazz thing. He's like,
Yes, it is.
JJ, baby,
Yeah.
JJ, baby, sweetheart.
You gotta think,
And then
how long
his-
is it? He was like 40 when he did Star Wars. Just take a second and think about that shit.
It's-
Like, could you imagine? Anyway, sorry.
I mean, he's not. I don't feel like he's slowing down. I mean, I don't want to be cliche and be like, "Oh, it's getting better with age," but like someone at his age to still be pumping out shit like he's pumping out, like I feel like it's some of his best stuff. Like
Yeah, I completely agree. Actually,
that
Ray's
lovely
theme is-
theme.
that's-
Oh, Ray's theme. That's a good
It's
theme
amazing.
too.
Yeah. I was like his
Dude,
love of
the Kenobi
Daisy.
theme. The Kenobi theme is sheer perfection. It
Yeah,
might
it
be the
is.
best modern one that he's done, in my opinion. Honestly, like it's just it I don't know.
I think my favorite, if we're going to talk about favorites really quick,
Yes,
is the
do
one
it.
that was used for the Rise of Skywalker promotion that they
Oh
used
my
again for
God.
the Lego
Uh-huh.
game that they should have just included in the Rise of Skywalker. I don't know why that they did.
Yeah,
To this
there you
day, every time I listen to it, I get emotional. Like that's how you know it's a good piece of music.
I
If it
agree.
hits you and it's not even the words, it's just like the
It's
music
less than
itself.
1 minute. It's like literally less than 1 minute of sound. You're already like,
Yeah.
oh man,
It's so good.
Yeah, we
Yes,
have
Eric
we have we
Stanley
have a
and
hand
James Earl Jones.
yeah.
we have a handful of respectable men in their 90s.
90s,
Hopefully, goddamn, I hope like I make it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
It's
there we go.
nice to it is
Let's start calling
nice
people
to be
baby.
able to be able to pull out names of men that we can respect and look up to and try to elevate into our old age. Like
Exactly.
I didn't want to make it to 40. I'm 37. I didn't want it to make it to 40, but now I'm like, maybe I want to be as badass as John Williams.
John
when I'm,
Williams,
like,
yep.
someday.
Fuck yeah. If I could be like just a fraction of as kind as Stan Lee projected himself,
Good lord.
like goddamn, like I want to be that nice old guy who's like, hey kiddo, how you doing? Like,
Right, and it,
that's my
you know,
energy.
Stan was not without his controversies, but
Sure.
but overall, right? Like, which of us aren't, right? Like, we are all,
Yeah.
as long as we're all out to grow.
We're all
and
valuable human
definitely,
beings.
Stan seems to have been a person who almost always had good intentions, almost always, and who seems to have grown in his old age, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Learn.
you know,
It
you
seems,
gotta
yeah.
learn. Like, if we stay stagnant and do not change, right? If we do not learn from our mistakes, then it's one of those things that it blows my mind. The mindset. I think one of the most the most problematic toxic things about toxic masculinity is the unwillingness to change your mind.
Yep, I agree.
And we learn and we grow, and if we do not learn from our mistakes and are able to change our minds, then we see what is happening in America.
Yeah,
there's
agree.
Large swaths of people who do not change, and in Pride Month, it is sad to see how our trans and non-binary brothers and sisters and or in siblings are being treated, and how terrifying it is for them to I thought it was bad just being a bisexual man married to a man. I could not imagine. I mean, my nephew is trans and has a hard time being out about it.
Yeah,
right.
sure.
Like, it's really terrifying for him. And the fact that if you can't be a little bit more like John Williams or Stan Lee or James Earl Jones and learn and grow and be kind to everyone as you get older, then what is the point of you living?
Well, like
Just
Spielberg,
get out of the way.
like this. If you can't
Lock
admit
yourself
that
up in your
you made a mistake being a younger person, being naive, I mean that if you can't see past that, then that's a you problem. But if you can look at it and say, Temple of Doom really wasn't my best choice in terms of what I did, and like you said, he's admitted that. George has admitted it, and like they did their best to erase it, or they did their best to kind of realize what they did wrong and what they could do for the future movies, because no other movie after this kind of has anything that flirts with, like, I don't know, I guess you could say real cultural problem, like deeply cultural problems.
Crystal Skull has its problems.
I agree.
But it's not on the level.
It's not like this shit. Good Lord. So the best moment to me,
He doesn't punch any cigarette girls in there, as far as I know.
The great moment though, when they arrive back, and unfortunately there is like a white savior aspect to it again, where like he walks up. But the thing is, it's kind of cool that he's got a little kid with him who like he like kind of embraces, and then all the kids come running in, and he's got the stones.
It's cool. Almost very, very it's staged almost. I don't know how to say this. It's staged like a theater production. That moment right there, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to disparage it, because again, I did a lot of theater like back in college and everything like that. Like I love musicals, all that kind of stuff. But it's a very much like a last bow, kind of like we come out, we're the main players, and then here's everyone.
It's an act 4
coming through.
It's an act 4,
and it's beautiful. And I will say, surprisingly, that ending still holds up for me every watch. Again, because of the children being reunited with their families.
Yeah,
it is a white savior thing, absolutely. But that moment is so pure to me, the joy of being reunited with your children and everything like that. And so it just that always hits me.
It works.
So yeah, it's very powerful.
Overall, I know, Buck, you said it was your favorite. Scotty, where are you at with this one?
Well, I don't really have much else to judge it off of. So,
That's also Scotty's favorite.
Out of all the other indie films, Scotty, what would you say?
What I will say is, watching it now has made me more interested to go and watch the other films, which, like, that's like a cliche thing to say, but like, no bullshit. Like, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to watch more Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So
it worked.
I think it did what it was supposed to do. And it was, we had the spooky shit in it. So like, I was into that. There was lots of cultural bullshit sprinkled throughout, which unfortunately, I feel like sometimes with older movies, like, we have to put up our own lens of that. Here's these depictions that are not good depictions in the current day. Well, they weren't back then either, but like, now you're just admitting it. So but I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm glad that I got to talk about the spooky one.
Yes,
this is the spookiest one, and I'm glad.
I really loved that part. That was my favorite part. That, and like I said, Willie, like, she has lots of flaws, but I could also relate to her at times, because there are plenty of times where I get dragged into doing something that I do not want to do, and I'm gonna bitch about it the whole time. And like if even if I end up enjoying it, I'm only let off a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And then once I get home, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was fun. That was nice. But like, that's my toxic trait.
I will
That's the
say,
one.
in that situation, I'm probably gonna be the Willy. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna be like the kind of a thing. Whatever. Anyway, so.
And I agree with Nick's comment here. The fact that he does return the stones is admirable.
That's
you know?
something he
Oh,
doesn't.
Yes. Even
Yeah.
Willie
Take it
calls
for
that out.
profit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good old Willie. She was like, you could have your fame and glory. And he's like, there's other things I can find.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is the fame and glory line from this movie? Like is it
He
this the
does
first time that he
tell-
says it?
I know
I
they
know
say
it's in this movie, but
glory.
is it the first time he says it?
Raiders. He's talking, I believe, to Sala, and they talk about fortune and glory.
That's right. Yeah. that's
Fortune
it.
and glory is
Oh,
like
Sala.
the I have a bad feeling about this. of
Yes.
Indiana
Which
Jones,
they do say
I
in
guess.
this.
They do say that. Uh-huh.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, fortune and glory.
Here's the things that I've noticed about Indiana Jones movies, by the way, is that there is always going to be, again, the horrible villain death. There's always going to be a spontaneously generated cliff somewhere. It doesn't like
Spontaneous.
you were going somewhere and all of a sudden, a cliff. You know, like it just they open up like sinkholes. Like it's in every movie.
Portal.
There is a cliff in every movie. I'm telling you right now. That just comes out of nowhere. And then yeah, I don't know. Like maybe that's it. Dan Aykroyd's in this movie, by the way.
Yes.
What?
That really? Yeah. In the very beginning,
Dan
right
Aykroyd
before
is
on
the
plane.
guy who he's the guy who gets him the plane. He's the British guy. He's like,
That's
oh,
who I
Mr.
thought
Jones,
that
I'm
was.
sorry.
Yep.
Oh
And
my
this
God.
is the year that Ghostbusters came out. by the way.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. 84.
There was that whole like group
I
of
had to tie it
like
to Ghostbusters.
people, right? Like that's the part of the reason like Carrie is present and Barbara, like they all like hung
Uh-huh.
out together. They're like all
Yeah.
these people were friends.
They were They were
So-
they were a friend group. Yeah, absolutely.
I just
Incredible.
love that line specifically after he gets him the plane and I almost said Han, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Indy says, I owe you a gin. And I'm like, ooh, I like that man.
It's
Yes.
amazing.
I would love
better.
a gin. Yeah.
Jerry, come over. I got some gin in the fridge. Let's go.
Listen,
There
let's
we
get some
go.
gin and tonic going. I'm telling
Let's
you,
do it.
let's go. I'm for
So-
it. I'm all for it.
In terms of Indiana Jones movies, I haven't watched Last Crusade in a minute, maybe like 2 or 3 years. That one I've watched more recently. So far, like in terms of pacing, like Buck was saying earlier, this is the tightest. This is the best one. Like it's just
It's like right at 2 hours,
boom, boom, boom.
right?
Yeah, and it's 159.
Really is.
It's like so tight, and like
Mhm.
there's the only part that breathes is the part where they're like 5 minutes so I can go in there. 5 minutes, like, and that's a great scene.
Yeah.
You know, them waiting, sitting, you know, all nervous and whatnot, smelling their breaths. I'm like, this is really good, but then it gets stopped by the guy trying to kill Indy. Like it's such good like play with moments and time period. Not time period. Moments in like the movement of time. Like it's all very quick. Like I couldn't tell you how many days this movie takes place. It must be 2 or 3. You know,
Right,
they
it's
land,
very
they
quick.
go on their little journey, they stay the night there, and the night there turns into a whole ass day. Like they don't get any sleep. They don't rest for shit.
Well, we
That's
saw.
what they put that on.
They're
That's
still
it.
standing. I don't
Yep.
understand.
Oh man, it's amazing.
Sweet
Well-
baby Eli. Sweet
Right
baby
now,
Eli.
Temple
Come on, my
Crusade.
child.
Good Christ, Eli, you have no idea what you're talking about. Crystal Skull needs to be a little bit higher. Not just me though.
I don't know though, because Crusade and Raiders are really good. Like it's
They're
not like that's the
amazing.
thing, is like there aren't any really bad ones. They're all
No.
good.
They
So
are
like
good.
putting something last isn't really a diss on that movie.
No, it's
just
not.
like,
It's
It's
not.
they're all really good.
it's a diss in some people's minds, because like some people want to, like, if you but again, it's you're right. There is not a bad indie film
No.
in my book, in which honestly I think there's not a bad one. They're all fun. They're all a
fun.
blast. They're adventures.
Mhm.
It's just it's a fun. These movies have lasted for so long
Yeah.
for a reason, right?
Yeah.
You know, like even this one that has so many glaring,
Yeah.
batshit
Not watch
insane things, it's still mildly watchable because it's a fun adventure, and you can go,
Oh.
all right, all that other stuff aside, that was fun. It was a ride, you know, kind of a thing.
A spooky ooky ride, but we love it.
Very spooky ooky ride.
Very.
By the
It's
way, my
all
parents let me
like-
watch Indy way too young, and I was scared. But it was one of those things. It was like, yeah, I was scared to death, but I loved it. Like
Yeah, definitely
every-
too young. We didn't have a lot of money, so my dad would usually get like bootleg VHSs. There'd be like two or
Nice.
three movies on a single VHS,
Yeah.
sometimes more. And I remember the only reason why this is why my favorite is partly because it was the only one that we had.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, but we watched it a lot, and
Yeah.
I still to this day cannot understand why my mom let us watch this movie so often, but she had a problem with Harry Potter.
See, my parents even let me watch Harry Potter. My parents were the Christian parents. They were like, they didn't really buy the hype of, you know what I mean? Like they let me watch Ghostbusters and all that kind of stuff. Like really, young.
I watched Ghostbusters too, right? Like that was the other thing. Like Ghostbusters was around. I was put to sleep on more than one occasion to movies like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street
they
at
didn't
like
go
a
that
really
far.
young age, like 2 and 3, 4. Like they were like, oh, it's bedtime, put on a movie. Oh, it's Nightmare on Elm Street. Like one of my earliest memories.
As
Is
long
Nightmare
as
on Elm
it
Street.
wasn't R, it was fair game in my house.
Some of those
Honestly.
movies are
honestly,
right, aren't they? So,
Yeah, no, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies are definitely are with
Yeah, so.
the scene of the bathtub.
My
No
parents
logic.
were not
Awesome.
horror fans. Let's just say that they
Oh,
were
my mom is.
movie fans, but they weren't like I watched E.T., Back to the Future,
Yeah, of course.
Ghostbusters,
Mhm.
Indiana
Lots
Jones,
of Back to the
Star
Future.
Wars, all that. That's what I was raised on. Was that kind of stuff. So anyway,
The Spielberg, Amblin, Lucasfilm movies.
honestly, yeah, my family's bread and butter.
Perfection.
They love them.
Yes.
I considered wearing my Jaws shirt, but I said because I was like Steven Spielberg movie, but then I was like, oh, I'll wear my tropical shirt because they're in the jungles of India and Sri Lanka
what I
and
should've
wherever, and
Yeah.
and Florida.
Full of owls.
Well,
That's
look,
so good.
y'all. I'm very happy we could have everyone here to hang out and chat with us. Thanks everyone in the chat being, very active tonight. It's a really good night, and I'm just thankful to finally talk about this movie and go into the nitty gritty detail of the things that work well and the things that don't work so well. I want to get some plugs in real quick. Buck, can we hear from you first? What you got going on, Buck? Anything exciting?
No, I don't have a podcast or a show or anything. I don't do anything. So this is what
You're
got planned
Buck
for this
O'Brien.
night. You can find me at Twitter. I'm on
There you
Twitter
go.
all constantly. You can find me Highball2814. It's a Green Lantern reference.
There you go.
Fuck yeah.
And you know what I like
Listen-
about Buck? Buck calls out bullshit. That's admirable.
Buck calls
Anyone
up bullshit, and also Buck likes all of my tweets, which makes me feel really good. And so
do I
I
really
have
like
just-
all of them? I probably do.
almost all of them. It makes
See,
me feel very good.
Everyone talks about Twitter being like a hell site, right?
Yeah.
But
Wow.
there are wonderful features on Twitter that allow you to like not see any of that. And one of my
Yeah.
favorite features
Just
on
follow the
Twitter
cool
is lists. And I make lists of different
Lists.
fandoms like Star Wars and Doctor Who or for animals or comic books and stuff. But one of the other lists I use, the only one that I scroll through, is my friends. I mean, one of my friends. And so if I like all your tweets, because that's all I'm seeing.
That's what you
So
see.
Twitter is a wonderful site for me
listen,
because I'm like, I don't see any of the bullshit.
Use the tools. Buck is using
Yes.
the tools, and we
That's right.
all can
Block,
use
mute,
those
and
same
lists.
tools.
There you go. I love it. Well, Buck, I'm glad I can have you for your first Bombad. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
This has been fun.
Sky, this is like your sixth one now. I'm just kidding. It's like three
Second.
or 4.
It's
I
second
think-
official.
Oh, okay.
But like fourth time I have popped into a Bombad stream.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. There we go.
Fun.
Am
I
I
love that,
supposed to-
though, Scotty. Yeah, you can tell us. tell us about-
Didn't you hop in on a Hyperfocus at one point as well? I believe, right?
Definitely no
Maybe?
the crawfish one, and
I
definitely
was there for the
anniversary one.
crawfish one and the anniversary
that's-
one.
Yeah,
That's what it is. Okay.
If there was any others, I must have been drunk and don't remember.
With Hyperfocus, most likely, because it was
Yes.
late and we all stayed afterwards drinking. So-
Well,
Also for the record, also Boop, I like you too.
also like Scotty. We gotta like Scotty.
yeah. Oh no, Boop. Okay, Boop said I also like Scotty. I could take or leave Scotty.
Referring
That
to
could
me.
be, I was going to say that could be interpreted in
Definitely
multiple
me.
ways.
No.
That's this one. That's this one right here.
Yeah, it's
I technically have immunity because Boop and I are siblings from
Yes.
like separated at birth, obviously.
Yes.
So-
Yes. Clearly.
Oh, well, we're queer siblings, so
There we
That's-
go.
yes.
Scotty, plug your
Very true. Very true.
Plug us.
Plug my shit. So I'm actually putting out a video tomorrow. I'm gonna finish editing it all night long. So it's my theory surrounding the Ahsoka series. So be on the lookout for that in the morning. So I'm on YouTube, obviously, and then I'm also doing Jedi Survivor live streams every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to follow me for all of my chaos, you can find me at Scotty Holiday SW on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
God, I love you, Scotty.
I love you.
Ah, what a
We
good
all love
stream.
Scotty.
God,
I love everyone
Scott,
on
I
the
will-
screen.
I will say Scotty's live streams one of the best chats in the world. I love being there for any of the chats.
I don't know how I don't know how I got these people, but I also agree. I feel like I have a really great community that shows up to my live streams, and I love you all.
Attract the people
That's
that
awesome.
have like mind.
We love you
and
too.
Vibes. So you're just a vibe.
That's right.
I love Scotty. I love this Scott over
Scotty.
here, but I love that Scotty down there a little more. And then I love Bob.
Yeah.
I love him. Yeah.
Love you too.
Well,
Jim.
look, this was a great Bombadcast stream. Can't thank everyone enough for being here every Thursday. You could just hear next week. Very excited to say, haven't said this. We haven't made a thumbnail yet for it to be made this weekend. We're gonna have on for our Last Crusade discussion. We're gonna have M from Pink Milk, formerly from Pink Milk. We're also gonna have the wonderful Jared, the Dark Jedi, and his co-host Spencer. So the Nerd Academy
Spooder?
podcast. Spooder. And then the plug later,
Spelunker.
the plug later, we're going to have on for our Crystal Skull episode Alex and Molly Damon and Alden Diaz, and we're going to be working out the logistics for our last episode of this series because it's going to be kind of up in the air because we'll be seeing the movie late. It's going to be a lot, but that'll come soon enough.
It might be like a later the weekend
yeah.
stream or
Yeah.
something. It depends on my schedule with my kid. Yeah. It depends on if I have my child or not. And I have to make it to work one time.
Yes.
So-
It's essential. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Look, here we go. One last nice look at
There
the
we
Drew
go.
Struzan.
Look at that. The Drew Struzan
thumbnail.
effect.
I love it. Handsome Squidward right there from Scotty Holiday.
Yeah.
Handsome
Stole my-
Squidward wishes. Honestly.
Stole my photo from
Handsome
your
Squidward
favorite of my tweets.
Yes, my favorite. Smile if you eat ass. One of my favorite tweets of all time. And you just Buck put a picture of himself up.
It's so wholesome. It's such a wholesome picture.
It's the most wholesome. That's
Look
what
how
makes it so
pure.
good.
Look how
I was
pure.
surprised at
That's
how
what
many
makes it so
people
good.
liked that tweet.
It was like 20 or 30 people. I retweeted it. I was like,
It's so good.
it was
Yeah,
It's
you
like a
did
picture
it.
that it was a picture you send to your mother to be like, hey, I'm having a fun time on my vacation.
we're on
You know?
vacation.
But instead, it's like, but I eat ass. So.
I'm eating a lot of ass on vacation. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Oh, well, thank you both for being here. This is a
Thank
great
y'all
stream.
both, seriously.
Jerry, we should get Buck to say it. Buck, what should the wonderful people
We
do? You know the
should.
catchphrase. You know it.
Stay Bombad.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Jackie. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share. What is it?
Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top,
And a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know
for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long.